People get so offended these days, man. It's stupid. So offended. But anyone who says that, you know there's one thing that if I made a joke about it, they would lose their minds. Like, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, honestly, they really do get just offended over anything, you know? It's just jokes. I agree. Like, there's this one bit I do about Jesus Christ.
And we are talking jokes, something I know a little something about. Well, I know something about if you think my jokes are funny, but then if you don't agree with my jokes or my point of view, then it's offensive and I shouldn't say it. Listen, I know Matt. Matt is hilarious and he's making a great point. The other side is always offended by a joke. Liberals get offended. Conservatives get offended. Red states, blue states, any division you want to make, someone on the other side is upset. And the most annoying thing about it is they feel the need to tell us comics, guess what? We don't care. If we've offended you, we probably did something right. Comedy is the only profession, the only creative thing where people feel the need to come tell you how to do it. What's even funnier is when they tell you that, I don't like comedy. Then why are you at a comedy show? Does anyone go to Broadway and say, man, I really, really don't like that acting and singing? Don't help us, okay? Don't.
No, I don't think I want to hear that. No, it's just like the thing we never talk about with him is that he's single till he was 33, never had a girlfriend. 33 back then, no girlfriend, no wife, and then he hangs out with the same 12 dudes all the time, all day. Like, come on, man, just come the hell out of the closet. No, you shut up. Stop it. No. Hey, man. Hey. Some things just you do not joke about.
We tell jokes, and we don't do it to hurt your feelings or to offend you. We do it to point out the funny. And by the way, Matt, excellent Jesus joke and very smooth the way you worked it in there. Guess what? Matt doesn't hate Jesus. He was just making a joke. We're comics. It's our job to talk about what you're afraid to talk about. So yeah, we do talk about religion and politics and race and gender and whatever else is in the news or whatever else is going on. We also talk about what's going on in our own personal lives, whether it be depression or addiction or whatever it is. See, we talk about it. You know why? Because we make jokes and we're expert at it. And guess what? We put ourselves out there in front of a crowd and the crowd lets us know if it's funny. When Michael Richards dropped the N-bomb at the Laugh Factory, do you know why he was booed and attacked and whatever else? Because it wasn't funny. Because the crowd knew right away that wasn't a joke. That was pure racism. See, the crowd is kind of like a dog. They can sense where you're coming from. Dogs always know if you're a good person. If dogs don't like you, you're not a good person. You hear that, Ted Cruz? See what I did there?
When the Michael Richards thing happened, remember, he was the first sort of canceled guy.
Reasonably
bad.
so.
It was pretty bad.
I love when they say we shouldn't be political. What? Comics have always been political. Guess what? The jester was the only guy allowed to make fun of the king. And if it wasn't funny, they chopped off his head. How would you like to work under those conditions? You talk about a tough room. Yeah, but he did it anyway. Of course, he had bells on his shoes, and it's hard to get mad at a guy with bells on his shoes. Listen, we're going to make fun of Marjorie Taylor Greene because Marjorie Taylor Greene's out of her mind. We're going to make fun of Lauren Boebert because she's trying to be as crazy as Marjorie Taylor Greene. And everyone's saying, oh, you only make fun of the right. You only make fun of the right. Really? Joe Biden shook hands with air. With air. You think we didn't make fun of that? Yeah. Sorry, right-wingers, you have more crazy characters, so you tend to get more jokes poked at you. Also, comics tend to be more liberal because we're kind of, I guess, more open-minded. But it's all fair game. Same thing with religion. We make fun of all religions. And we take responsibility for what we say. Now, there's something that keeps politicians out of the comedy game. See, and there's another important difference. We're comedians. We are not politicians. We are not raising your kids, okay? It is not up to Dave Chappelle to explain to you how to handle the trans community. We're not here telling you that it's okay to bring an 80-round clip to a grocery store, all right? We're not telling you that Mexicans are rapists and dope dealers, or telling women to lay back and enjoy rape and then sitting back and say, oh, it was just a joke. No, it wasn't. You're a politician. You're responsible for what you say. How about that? Freedom of speech. Along with freedom comes responsibility. Yeah, it's kind of like the Spider-Man movie, but not quite. responsibility for what you say. How about standing up and taking that rather than saying, I'm offended by it? If you don't like it, turn it off. Don't listen. You can't tell other people what to say and say you have freedom. And if you say something horrible, take responsibility for it. I've been fired for telling jokes. I was dropped by the William Morris Agency for telling a joke about the William Morris Agency. I'm okay with that. I was responsible for what I said. And if you dare tell us not to get political and not to talk about society and not to talk about the idiocy out there, in the name of George Carlin, I say, shut that up. And guess what? I'm not joking.
For example, the town I live in, there's 14-year-old, 13-year-old kids that are transgenders and furries.
This clip is such a perfect encapsulation of how things have really devolved in this country over the last several years. Everything has become a culture war, and in part it's because of social media. And look, it seems a bit boomer to complain about that ruining society, but we have to acknowledge that has played a part in how partisan things have become and how these trivial issues or alleged claims of what high schoolers are doing has turned into national culture wars.
And they're in the schools, and the white people are afraid to say anything.
None of this really matters, and it certainly doesn't matter in the political arena. It shouldn't drive an election strategy. It shouldn't motivate people to take to the streets, but apparently it does. And that's because of how people's brains have been fried. You'll notice when she's talking about what's allegedly happening in schools in Michigan, these trans furries simply existing, not doing anything wrong. They're just there, and she has a problem with that. But you'll notice that she's not talking about something that she, or if she has kids, her kids have seen. She's talking about rumors she's heard.
I have a friend her friend's daughter is 14 years old, and she's afraid to even say anything to these kids.
That's because this is a hoax. This is a widely spread hoax on the right. It's happened in Nebraska, it's happened in Michigan, it's happened throughout the country. There's a hoax that kids are dressing up as furries and using litter boxes in the bathrooms. That's not true. But that has motivated a non-insubstantial part of this country, and they're getting it from the internet. They believe everything they read. That type of illiteracy that's spreading throughout the country, this credulousness on the right, has led them to believe some of the most zany conspiracy theories people could ever gin up. That's really bad for America. And look, if her full-body American flag costume and Trump accessories weren't enough of a red flag, these comments should be. Because again, this isn't true. These are internet rumors. There's a greater likelihood of a Nigerian prince wiring you millions of dollars than there is kids using litter boxes as furries in high schools. That's just how far-fetched this is.
I mean, and we have privilege. We have white privilege.
But to go back to the social media point, we've seen this from the top down. You know, Trump was addicted to Twitter. You see right-wing figures constantly consuming fringe content, and that affects their views. It impacts what they say. It certainly drives some of their fundraising strategies. You've seen how Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert have espoused conspiracy theories that they got from the internet. Marjorie Taylor Greene came out of conspiracy culture on the internet. That's how she got her start in politics. And Wendy Rogers in Arizona is doing great. She's out fundraising most candidates in her state across the entire ballot just by spreading conspiracy theories and hate rhetoric in her campaign platform. So why does this work? Why do people take to the streets for these types of things? Why are these beliefs things that people actually hold on to? And it's because they're under a constant barrage of misinfo and fringe content, because opaque proprietary algorithms by these social media companies feed it to them. These algorithms see constant engagement with the most insane types of content, and compared to a otherwise dry or banal news story, this, to that algorithm, looks more interesting. It makes no difference what the content is. They're purely designed to keep you on those platforms. So they keep feeding people more and more extreme content in hopes of keeping them on the site longer and longer. That's really detrimental when you're feeding them things like trans furries are using litter boxes in the bathroom. Because what that does is that convinces people this is true when they see it over and over again. And when you have a bigoted populace, that leads to real world hate.